We'll create a SaaS that a lot of people need. We will find leads, then scrape their website, create a better website for them, then send them emails with the actual URL to their website. And we will use Warmy to make sure that our email addresses are actually warmed up. So this is actually going to be a full-blown SaaS app, and I will take you along on every single step. We are going to create Pitch, and it is AI-powered website redesign. And what it actually does is it will find you leads, and then for those leads, create a new website. And then the URL of this website can be sent to the actual owners of the business, so that when they see the actual website, they are like, oh my God, this guy created the most amazing website. We need this. So this is a full-blown application, which I'm putting available as a box that you can buy so that you can actually launch this as a business immediately. So the first thing that we are going to do is the following. In the build loop prompt library, we have this big prompt for pitch, and we can copy it. We can go to Lovable and we can paste it. We can then run it. If you want to see the prompt in detail, you can go to the build loop prompt library. Also, the link to the actual template, the landing page, the actual working app, and everything will be put into a link in the description as well. So right now we can run this, and then we'll have our first version of our app. So this is our prompt, as you can see, and it created this. We can now see the landing page right here. This is all looking all right. I don't really like it yet, but this video is very transparent. So I'm going to take you from this point to actually having our SaaS, which is going to be a really big difference. So right now we can click on Get Started and we can actually log in. I just created an account, so I can now log in right here. And we have our view where we have our pitches. So actually how that works is we can click here. We can make a manual pitch, and I call it pitch because you're basically pitching your website to the businesses, where we have our company name, our website URL, we have our overview right here, but we also have find leads. So for example, we can look for barbershops in Amsterdam or whatever city you want, and powered by Google Maps will actually find the businesses that we are looking for. So this is very local. We will not search for the most popular leads out there, but actually like the local ones that don't get a lot of outreach yet. We have our pitches that are stored, we have our analytics, so we don't have that yet. We have our settings, and from here we need to make a lot of steps to actually having our SaaS app. The first thing that I will do is we are going to create a new pitch. So let's call this a barber in Amsterdam. And we now need a manual website URL. So what I can do is I can now go to Google Maps and I can look for barber in Amsterdam. Okay, let's see. So let's get this one. We can now look at the URL, and right here we have the website, and it's all right, but I don't really like it. It's fine. So we have the right here. We can go here and we can paste it. We can click on scan website, and probably this is not integrated yet, but we can now choose a template, and this is also picked by AI. So we can now click on create pitch and just see what's happening. So currently not implemented yet. So the first thing that we now need to do is get our manual pitches to work. So we'll use the voice button right here and say the following. Hey, so we tried to make a manual pitch, but it was not working. We were on the view where it said choose a template. We clicked one. Then when we clicked on create pitch, it didn't do anything. What it should now do is it should scrape the website, the URL for images, for text and everything. And from there, make this website, basically this preview, which we can see in our actual screen. So make sure to implement all the functionality that is currently missing. Okay, so we run this. Okay, so it is now asking us to connect Firecrawl. We can either choose the managed one or my own one. Let's for now click the managed one, and let's now wait for it to be completed and see what the actual result will be like. Okay, perfect. So we have our new version. I will make a new pitch. Right now we get the URL and we paste it here. We scan the website. It is now actually connecting to the website. So this is already looking way better. We can choose the template. So for now, let's go with modern professional. We can now click on create pitch and hopefully have our website. And as you can see, we currently have our website with the actual images that are on the original website. And we have our testimonials right here. We have our contact us, and this is all looking not so good yet. I mean, if you send this, you will get no responses, but for now, this is fine. And what I mean with this is we have all the time of the world to fine tune this. For now, it is actually working. We have the Legends room. It has all the information about the actual business. And for now, there are other features that need work. Because when we now go back to dashboard, right here, we have our find leads. And if we now click here and we say barbers in Amsterdam, let's see, we search, nothing is happening. So let's first do the basics. And if we have the basics, we can then fine tune everything. The design of our app, the design of the websites, and everything will be taken care of. But first, the basics. If you're enjoying this video and learning anything from it, please make sure to like and subscribe and make sure to get the box. The link is in the description. Okay, so we now want to implement this functionality. So what we'll do is we'll go back to the build loop prompt library right here. And we now scroll down and we have our second prompt right here. And we can just copy this. We can go back to our app right here and we can paste it. And I've created those prompts for you. So you can choose either figure this out yourself or get the template. If you get the template, you can just remix this complete project, but then the end version of this, which will look way better. Or you can just try it out yourself if you like that. Right now, we just need to wait for this to be implemented. We can then test it out. And then from here, we can go on with the other functionality. It is now asking us for our API keys. So we'll go to API right here. And we have this Google Maps scraper. And this will basically, based on a query, so for example, barbers in Amsterdam or dentist clinics in New York, whatever you want, you can find them using this API file scraper. If you get the template, you don't even need to look at this. You only need to go here to API clients, and get your own API key. That's all. So we go back to our app right here, we paste it and we submit it, and it can then finish the rest of the functionality. And if you want to integrate the Google Maps scraper into your app, you can do this in a few different ways. You can either get the documentation from here, get the code examples, or get the prompt from the build loop prompt library. Okay, perfect. It has finished. We can now say barbers in Zaandam. That's even closer to where I live. So we click on search and let's now see if everything is working. Here we have it. And this is already really cool, like that we can have all the barbers that are close. We can then from here click on create pitch. So let's now see which one we'll try. This one. We click on create pitch. And what we want now is have the name and the URL here, and it will then make everything automatically. So we'll use the voice button right here. What we want is when we use the find leads functionality, we can click from there on create pitch. It then sends us to the actual new pitch interface. And we actually then need to copy paste all the data from that lead once again in our form. This is very inefficient. We just want to make sure that when we click on create pitch, we get sent to the screen that actually shows that we are already scraping the website and creating the pitch for us, so that we don't have any manual work and we then just get to see the actual website that we created for them. We run this, perfect. So this is now working. Something very important is our settings page, because right here, we actually want to be able to connect our email address. And then from there, we actually want to connect it to Warmy, and Warmy will warm up our email addresses. So we can just send out the emails on autopilot. Perfect. So this was finished. We can now go back here. We can click on my leads. We click on create pitch. And as you can see, we are scanning, connecting to the website. We can choose the template and we click on create pitch. And right here, we have our website. And once again, we'll fine tune this way further. So this will look way better, but this is already pretty cool. We can then go back to dashboard. Okay, so right now we have the following. We find leads, we get their website, we get their actual email address from their website, and this is fine. But we need more. We need to have our actual Gmail connected, because right now we then just need to make our own email, get the URL, send it. It's not efficient. So in our settings, we actually want to add our Gmail integration. So we go to the build loop prompt library once again. And then right here, we have our prompt that will add the Gmail integration. So you can copy this one or get the template, and I will now go back to our app and paste it. We run it. Also, if you want to dive into this prompt, you can go to the build loop prompt library. You can just have your time with it and check how I'm doing everything. right now we can go to our app and we need to get our client credentials from our Cloud Console. So right now we can go to console.cloud.google.com, and then right here we can create a new OAuth client. So we choose for web application, we can give it a name, we create it, we get our client ID and our secret, and we'll paste that into Lovable. So I will copy paste that right now, the client ID, we get our secret right now, and we submit it. And it can then make the integration so that in our settings, we can just click on one button, connect it, and that's taken care of. The last part that we then need to do is connect our Warmy, and then the actual fine tuning will start so that we can go from this, which doesn't really look that good, to something very professional, something you can actually just launch. Okay, perfect. So it has loaded. We have our email connection right here. We can now open it up right here. We can click on Connect Gmail, click on our account, say continue, send emails on your behalf, and we connect it. Okay, so right now we have our email connected. Now the next part, because we now need to add Warmio so that it will actually warm up our mailbox. If you don't do this and your SaaS users will start sending out emails, they will all get in spam, they will get no results, they will leave your SaaS, you end up without money, they end up frustrated. So that's not a good way to go. It is really necessary if you're using any email sending in your SaaS, and this is just so important. So what we'll do is we can go to the product and we have our Warmy API. So we click here, we can click on API documentation, and here we have everything. So we can get the list of our mailboxes, we can create a new mailbox, we can get the details, but we can also see what the actual deliverability of an email address is. So basically the health. So if you have a new mailbox, it has basically no reputation. It is new, so it can be a spam email address. If you have an email address that is existing longer, it will probably be good. If you did a lot of cold outreach, it will probably be a bit worse. But from here, we can actually just copy the documentation on how to actually connect to the API of Warmy.io. We have our holder UID value, which we'll need in a few seconds, and we need our API token. So what I will now do is, instead of actually getting all this documentation, which is like, it is good documentation, but still documentation is a bit boring, right? We want something more interactive. So in our build loop prompt library, and right here, we have our prompt. Let me see right here. It is actually just a documentation from Warmio, but then the most important things, the things that we need for our actual implementation. So what we have right here is our prompt. We can copy it right here. We can paste it right here, and we can then just run it. So what happens is the Gmail connection will actually be connected to Warmy, and Warmy will make sure that our emails that we can then send later on to our actual leads with our pitches will be actually delivered instead of just going to spam. So we run this, we then wait for this to be completed. And once we have that, I will make sure that this complete app will just look way better, is of way higher quality. And it's like something you can actually just start selling straight away, because right now it is pretty buggy. It looks all right, but we are now, let's see, a few prompts in. We are 9 prompts in, and right now it is asking us for our Warmy API key, our Warmy holder UID, and our app origin. And where we find that is in the documentation. I will link this down in the description as well. We have our holder UID value. We'll go back to pitch. We paste that right here. We have our Warmy API key, which we can find in our dashboard. So we can click here, we can go to dashboard, and then right here, we can go to settings, we can go to API keys, and we can click on API key, and right here, we can create the key. We copy that, we paste it right here, and we have our app origin, which will be this currently. We paste that right here. Let's see, that is going well. And we submit it. We then wait for it to be completed. Okay, so when we now click on enable warmup, we have our warmup started. We can pause it, we can test it, we can disable it. We have a temperature. So actually, how ready is our domain for actually sending out emails? And as you can see, it shows a daily capacity, and we can just start ramping this up gradually. So right now, we actually have our full app. We have our pitches, the manual way we can find leads. We show our pitches right here. We have our analytics, and we have our settings where we can add our Gmail connection and our email warmup. And this is a full-blown app. But right now, we can actually start doing the most fun part. because going from this to an actual production ready app takes some time, some effort, and some vision. You need to have a specific styling because this looks way too lovable-ish. So we really need to think this through. How can we make this something people actually want to use? For this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to fast forward to when it's actually finished. I will show you the end result. So I think this is a lot of fun that you now know how it started and how it's going to be ending. And that you understand that it just takes a lot of time, a lot of prompts to make this something that actually people want to use. So I'm going to focus on this for a few hours and then show you the result. Okay, so right here we have our actual app. Fully fine-tuned, fully production ready. As you can see, the design is way cleaner. We have this logo. Everything just looks like something you actually want to use. We have our page right here. We have all these sections which have scroll animations. They have hover animations. We have these cards. We have these reviews. And we can now click on Get Started for free. And as you can see, this is already looking way more professional. We have our login and sign up page, which is already looking way more like something I would actually sign up for. So I can now log in and we are now on our dashboard. And as you can see, I chose this really minimalistic feeling because I think it's really fitting to what we actually do. We pitch and that's what we are good at. So we can now click on new pitch. We get sent to this page, but we can also find leads. So let me once again say barbers in Amsterdam. We can click on search and right here we get all of our barbers. I think I would even fine tune this way further. So I think the actual template that you will get is even better. Like things like this, they need to be the same height everywhere. For now, I think I would like this one and I can click on create pitch. We are connecting to website, extracting the content and doing an AI content analysis. So we have our lead right here and we can choose between the templates. And as you can see, AI is picking based on the type of business. So we can now click on create pitch and right here we have our website. We can copy the link, we can open it in preview, we can even view the feedback. So right now the business owners get sent this URL and they can leave feedback immediately. Like, wow, I like this website, but I want these things different. As you can see, we can preview in tablet, in mobile, on desktop, and right here they can ask for their changes. We can see the exact website with all those hover animations. We have the actual images from the website, as you can see right here. And we also have the reviews, which we can all see right here. We have the amount of reviews. So this is just a full-blown website for our potential customers. We have a contact section and right here we see created by Luc Alleman and we can now put basically our portfolio on the bottom. So they get the actual email and then they see it like this. Right now we can edit the content and the colors even and then send it maybe. And what we do is we track the opens. So we send our email, our URL to our clients. And as you can see, it is actually tracking the amount of times the website has been opened. And we also check the location. So right now you will see right here that 2 minutes ago it was open. So we can actually understand if our lead opened the website. We have our settings right here where we can change our creator profile. We have our email, our LinkedIn, our Twitter. We have our email connected. And right here we have our actual email warm-up. So we see our temperature of our email account is almost ready. We have today's capacity, the amount of emails that we actually sent today. We have our deliverability score, our placement, our DNS. We can pause it, we can test it. We have everything right here. And when we now go back here, we see everything in our overview. We see our pitches, which we can just visit right here. And we can actually now just start sending out the emails. And right here, we can click on send email, which will use our integration right here, have our name, have our subject. And then when they click this, they will actually land on their newly designed website. So we can click on send email right here. I won't do the outreach right now because I don't need those clients, but this is just amazing. Like this is a full-blown app already. So really make sure to check out the box. You can either choose to make it yourself or buy the box and get a head start and launch within 5 minutes. This is really something a lot of people need, especially web designers or just people who want to hustle, get new clients, stuff like that. So it is really cool. Thanks for watching my complete video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned anything from it. If you have any questions regarding the box or regarding the prompts, please make sure to leave a comment and I will make sure to answer every single one of them.